Alright, hello, welcome to this video. I'm gonna just talk to you about some personal issues going on. It's an important video for all my viewers to watch. Obviously, there have been a lot of negative things going on in my life, in my neighborhood, and with my health um, that have been upsetting me a great deal. Um, and whether it be the kidney stones that I'm dealing with that I'm hoping will pass on their own. I'm gonna have a CAT scan on Monday, so hopefully I've made the decision if the kidney stones are moving through, that I'm not going to go through with this procedure, this ureteroscopy, whatever the hell it is, because I just don't want it. I don't want anything stuck up there. I just don't want it. Um, it's one thing when you have a colonoscopy or an endoscopy, but that, you know, we all know what I'm talking about. Is a very sensitive area, and I really, I'm not in any significant pain or discomfort to want to go through with that. But I want to see what the CAT scan says. But I really want to pass these stones naturally without a surgical intervention, which is what this procedure is. That's a decision I'm going to make, and hopefully, I mean, doctor hopefully doesn't give me a hard time, but it is my body. Um, the other thing going through is all the issues that I'm facing in my neighborhood: the trash, the rats, the decline that's going on right now, um, and really, it's really insanely difficult uh, to find another location to live in, as you know. Um, it is insanely difficult because of the housing prices, the discrimination going on. The areas that I prefer to move to on the South Shore are only for a certain demographic only, and I have to take a step back and say, you know, it's a lot of stress, an additional stress to take on, and I just I recently turned 46, and it makes me wonder: is this going to be my last birthday on Long Island? Um, it's insanely hard. Um, but I'm trying to meet friends. I really need to meet a woman in my life. Um, that's the other thing, obviously. I like being in a culturally diverse area. If I'm just around a certain demographic all the time, a certain demographic, and you can't be any more far apart, ideologically speaking. Um, you know, and it's I know I have some issues with my housing, but again, unfortunately, people in mental health housing are dealing with really bad conditions, and I know people that are in the programs in other agencies, and it's much worse for them than it is for me. Um, I mean, most of their apartments are in Hempstead. Most of them are in much worse situations. Um, so I'm trying. I made a whole nother video, and then I kind of took a step back and it's like, I don't want to sound ungrateful. You just may notice I cut my hair, by the way. I just did that today. Yeah, I had to cut my hair. I don't like my hair long. I usually always wear my hair short. I just can't have long hair. My hair is like, it's thick, and it just makes me feel much hotter when I have that. I get hot very easily. Um, I get very hot very easily. I have since my entire life. I've gotten hot very easily. Uh, you know, um, and generally there are three outcomes that are going to occur in the next year. Outcome one, which is the best one, and unfortunately the hardest one, is that all this discrimination and redlining and neglect around here stops. The rats go away, the trash goes away, the criminals and the homeless people hanging around go away. We have businesses coming into town, Mineola, that'll be opening up. Our train service will improve. Our bus service will improve. And then I wouldn't have to think about moving at all. That is still what I really would like to happen. All right. But we all know that there's a plan in place that they're trying to do in the middle of the island. Um, you know, and and it's going to come. And then the other option would be number two. You actually find a decent place on the South Shore. You find a nice, decent, safe, single bedroom apartment in a safe area on the South Shore, like Lynbrook or Rockville Center. I would even consider parts of Oceanside and East Rockaway. All right, that's also very hard because again, it's very hard for them to get housing in those areas. Very hard. There, between the two things you're up against the housing prices. So they're only willing to give you a certain amount of rent that you can pay, that they're willing to pay, and then the housing prices are very high. So it's the housing prices, the average rent that they charge in these areas is higher than what the agency legally can pay. Um, and then that leaves us with the third option. Obviously, well, the second option obviously is going to be hard, and then the third option is going to have to live in New Jersey, in Tom's River. All right. Out of all those options, that's my least favorite of them because it's hot there. Yes, they have beautiful pine barrens all around Tom's River that you can get to. All right, but there's less public transportation, although they do have a bus route that does run 24 hours a day, the 559. Yeah, the Pine Barrens do get more respect there. That's true, but it's hot, and you know me, I don't do well in the heat. It's hot enough as it is here, um, and it's hotter there. I mean, last night I was warm even here on Long Island. We were in the mid to upper 50s. They were still in the mid 60s in Jersey, and the dew points were higher too. It's very hot there, and I have a lot of trouble dealing with the heat. I have my whole life, and I get easily dehydrated. That's probably why I got these kidney stones. All right, so being around more heat is going to make it more likely that I'm going to be dealing with more kidney stones, which I don't want to do. So that is my least favorite option is winding up in Tom's River. So, when you turn 40 to 46, you think about all these things. I'm not that young anymore. It sucks. I'm still single. I don't have a wife yet. Um, and for those people who just don't think that people with mental disabilities have a right to choose where they live, well, they're just very, very ignorant, narrow-minded people. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say. But I know it's hard, and again, most of the apartments in the supported housing program aren't actually single bedroom apartments. You have to have roommates, and that's horrible. All right. I mean, there are so many horror stories from people I know in the program, and I haven't really talked about it much. There are other agencies basically where they put criminals in to apartments, people with drugs, people who steal stuff from their roommates. They basically put people in these apartments that are people that either should be in jail or people that should be in hospitals. All right. So they find that it's instead of putting these severely mentally ill people who are violent and a threat to others, instead of having them in hospitals, they're placed in these apartments, and they're placed in there with other people, other roommates, and it's horrible. These horror stories. A lot of them are emanating from another agency, but I bet some people in my agency probably have these similar experiences. And I'm fortunate that I've never had to deal with those. I don't know how I would ever take that. I couldn't take that. Um, but this is what I'm up against in New York. All right. I don't know all that much about New Jersey and their housing program, but I know from people have told me they have better support services for people with mental disabilities in New Jersey. But again, I don't want to live in New Jersey. I don't know how I'm going to ever survive there. The heat, being away from family, being away from friends. All the friends I've made are on Long Island. It's just it's the last resort. Um, but these problems that Mineola is going through have to stop. I'm in touch with certain certain officials to get this rat problem addressed. The village needs to crack down on the trash not being cleaned up. And a lot of this hinges on what happens in New York State. While we're all suffering with the crime, and yeah, I was very upset to hear. It really hit me hard last night when I heard about that shooting in New Hyde Park. It happened right by the ShopRite in that medical building right there on Marcus Avenue. I was very upset about that. Extremely upset about it. Because it happened in broad daylight, 4 o'clock. And it's also an area I frequent because the ShopRite's there, and I usually go to that ShopRite. Now I'm kind of nervous about going back to that area because I don't feel safe there. I mean, that's where that homeless person harassed me. All right. There's been a lot of issues in that area. I mean, I could tell you, that, a friend of mine, he was riding the bus, and some guy got on the bus and started just trying to attack the bus driver. It's happened in New Hyde Park, right in that same area, because it's spilling over from Glen Oaks. And they're all trying to have this all spill down through the middle of the island. You know, all these people, all these criminals are out on the streets instead of in jail. All right, and that's with bail reform. Meanwhile, the budget in Albany is held up because they're basically arguing over bail reform. While people are dying from all crime, people are getting attacked, robbed, beaten, shot, killed all over New York State, particularly in the downstate area. They're dilly-dallying on Albany over the rights of these damn criminals. And I'm making this video because it's affecting our life. We are being driven out by the crime. And we do have an election coming up. We have actually two. We have the primary, where everybody's big money's behind Hochul. All right, she's a limousine liberal. But I'm hoping maybe Tom Suozzi can pull off a win. We have two opportunities to get rid of Hochul. If we can't primary her out, then when the general election comes, we have to elect whoever the Republican candidate is, even if it's Zeldin, who I'm not entirely crazy about. He's still, I think, going to be a better option than Hochul at this point. I wish we could have George Pataki back. All right, but, But, yeah, it is getting harder for us. And I'm pretty upset about it, but I've got to try to hang in there. I've got to try to be strong. I've got to try to continue to bring content as much as I'm able to do about these issues. Because we all need to speak up and we all need to know what's going on Long Island. Whether it be the Pine Barrens being under threat in Riverhead, whether it be these horrible bus redesign that Suffolk County has proposed, whether it be the crime, the neglect, literally the roads in the South Shore like hardly have any potholes. New poles. Here, lots of potholes. Old poles. Things are not being taken care of. Bagel Boss and Carl Place is closing. Yeah, that whole Country Glen Center is in trouble. I got to take a video there one day. Because that Country Glen Center, there are a lot of empty stores there now in Carl Place. I mean, the Red Robin that went out, they still haven't filled that yet. So it's just going to be another empty store there. It's just another example of what's going on. Everything, all the business, the commerce, it's all directed toward the South Shore. All the infrastructure improvements, potholes, all that stuff's taken care of on the South Shore because, again, that's where these white finance professionals live. These preppy white finance professionals. And if you want to have a good quality of life, everybody wants to be with them. Everybody wants to be down there. Everything's being directed toward that area. It sucks that, I go to the South Shore all the time because I don't want to be around the problems in the middle, but it sucks that I got to be around these snobby people. I'd much rather be around a more culturally diverse crowd. All right. I'd much rather be around. When it comes to looking for a woman of the opposite sex, I mean, I don't really look at white women. I look at women from other cultures because I find a lot of these white women tend to be very conceited. I'm not saying they all are, but a lot of them are. You know, and they always talk with that Valley Girl voice now that's become so popular. They get up talk. They say it's like an owl. I can't even do it. I can't even talk like that. But they just have this uppity way of talking down there on the South Shore, especially the South Shore. That's not the kind of women I'm looking for, and that kind of woman certainly wouldn't want a guy like me. They're gonna want the stockbroker with the money. They want to be with another finance professional. That's not what I am. They love money. I'm not in love with money. I'm in love with pine trees. All right, so it's a little different. All right. And yes, the train situation in Minneapolis is bad with all these train weekend shutdowns, but it will be done. The new station is coming along, and once it's done, there'll still be some issues, but I'm hoping it won't be as bad. So I'm trying to hang in there. I was really upset in the other video, and that's why I'm making the other. You're not going to see the other video. I mean, put it together, but I got to try to hang in there just a little longer, and hope that things will get better. I mean, I'll keep looking to see if I can find something on the South Shore, but we know it's going to be very hard to find a. We know it's going to be very hard when you look at the conditions across they just don't. It's just New York. Just there's a stigma about people. The stigma that I'm going to address in this video because I get a lot of hate from people, and including a former colleague of mine that we all know, Andy from NYC, who continues to harass me. And I haven't even watched his videos picking on me because there's no purpose even watching them. Why he's doing this, I don't know, because he's literally in the same boat. He has it a lot worse than I do. He's living in a really, really bad area. Very dangerous. I mean, Jamaica's so bad it makes Minneapolis look like Babylon, all right? Yet he's picking on somebody who's trying to address these crime issues. I don't understand it. I really don't. We got to fix bail reform. Albany is twiddling their thumbs right now. The budget is late because of it. And the voters need to remember in November how screwed up things are. And they need to be changed whoever is in charge, whoever their incumbent is. If that incumbent doesn't support changing the bail reform law to give judges more discretion and to keep violent repeat offenders off the streets, then that is a person that should be voted out of office. Period. That simple. It is that simple. And then these people that run their mouth about, well, bail reform is unfair to people of color and minorities. They are so hypocritical because it is people of color and minorities that are dealing with the bulk of this crime in their communities, while the whitest communities avoid most of it. So who do they think they're fooling? I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I'm just trying to hang in there. I really am. I'm just trying to hang in there. It's hard. It's so hard. And sometimes I lose my temper. Sometimes I say, I can't take it anymore. And then when I calm down, I was like, I gotta hang in there just a little longer. Just a little longer, John. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better. I got to keep hanging in here. And I'm going to continue to speak up for things I see wrong, despite the intimidation. Why should Mineola have to deal with homeless people? Why should we have to deal with poles that are crooked? Why should we have to deal with roads that are falling apart? Why should we have to deal with rats and trash on the streets? We shouldn't have to deal with any of those things. No one should. It's still a town, I feel, with great potential if we overcome this corruption. It's like sometimes it's easier just to give up and walk away. It's like, all right, gotta get out of here. And then I'm like, no, we can't let this happen. It's not fair to the people that live here. It's certainly not fair to because there's an important hospital here. And when I had those kidney stones, and when I went to the emergency room, and I was in such bad pain, I was so glad to be. I was so glad I could walk to that hospital into the emergency room, and I got great, excellent care. May not be the fanciest hospital, but it's the best hospital on Long Island. All right, even though it's no longer considered Winthrop, it's part of NYU line, it's still the best damn hospital around. All right, they have the best staff and the best treatment. All right, I've been seeing doctors affiliated with that hospital for over 20 years. Probably longer than that, probably 25 years. So, gotta hang in there a little longer. I've got to hang in there. And, when it comes to these issues with the transportation, I have to allow more time in case there are delays. So instead of leaving to go to the Pine Barrens on an 8:30 train, I'm going to have to leave to go to the Pine Barrens on a 6:30 train. At least that way, if there's a problem, I'll have time to get around it and avoid it as best I can. I'll still get delayed. It won't cost me the whole damn day. Um, what was that? Oh, it's just the wind. It scared the hell out of me. It's very windy out there. It got very cold, by the way. Thank God it got cold. I was dying last night. It was so hot. I can't deal with that heat. Never could and never will. It's got to be cold. But anyway, as I turned 46, I hope that the next birthday will be better. I really do. I hope it'll be better. But I'm gonna keep I'm gonna get after that on those rats. All right, and I don't hate rats. All right, I think they're kind of cute, but they're here because of neglect, and the neglect has got to stop. All right, this village has got to start standing up for its quality of life. People told me you should run for mayor. I wish I could. I can't handle that. I can't even handle working. You see what the stress does to me? You see what it does to me? You've seen what it does to me, just the stress that I deal with, even though I can't even work. Even just going out. So I can't handle it. Can't handle it. It has real health effects too. This whole thing with the kidney stones has reminded me I have got to do a better job of weighing stress and taking care of myself. So I guess we're reaching the 25-minute mark. I don't really want to make this video that much longer. But I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm grateful it's not worse. But just because it could be worse doesn't mean it can't be better either. It can always be better. And you have to speak up for your quality of life. Everyone should have a good, safe quality of life and have towns that are doing well, filled with businesses and feeling safe on the streets, having good infrastructure, having reliable transit. Everyone should have those things. Not just a certain demographic, but everybody. And again, in the age of climate change, in the age of the climate crisis, a massive ice shelf just collapsed in Antarctica. Again, the South Shore may seem like an enclave, but all it takes is hurricanes and sea level rises, and it's going to be in a real world of hurt. So I guess that's going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for putting up with me. I know I get upset and angry sometimes, and I flip out on here. That's why I can't deal with stress, and I don't want to flip out. I really don't. It's not good for my health. I'm not getting any younger. I've got to really watch it and avoid this stress and do what I can to avoid it. And obviously, I don't think I've been doing a good enough job of avoiding the stress. I have to make sure that I'm not put in situations where I can be screwed by transit delay. I always have to have an alternative. Uh, so I want to thank you for watching. Take care. Be safe out there. And let's pray for New York. Pray for Mineola. Pray for everybody, and not just in New York, not just in the city, not just in the entire country, but the entire world. We still have this horrible war going on in Ukraine with Russia, and it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. And it could escalate, and I'm still scared of that too. Um, I pray for peace, pray for love, and pray for understanding. And thank you for watching.